Over 60 new rules. If you're over 60 and you're thinking about moving, this is a must-watch video. Things are not the same as when you bought your last home or when you sold your last home. I promise you, this video could make you tens, if not hundreds of thousands of dollars when you go to sell your home. I have the 10 most important things that you need to know if you're selling your home over 60. So let's talk about point number 1. What today's buyers are really looking for. So, buyers are so different today than they were 20 years ago or even 10 years ago. Many of you downsizers probably haven't bought or sold a home in many years now. Buyers are different because times have changed as far as the internet, as far as, things like Selling Houses Australia and the block kind of shows. They've really changed in what buyers are expecting, and it is a whole new world. So when you're looking at a buyer of your home, you need to be thinking that this buyer is not you. A buyer like you is not the target market. So however you were thinking about your home is probably not how a buyer is thinking about it. I want you to think if you were selling your home to your child, okay? Your child, maybe somebody in their 30s, late 20s, maybe even early 40s. I want you to think about it. What it would be like if your child walked into your house and was interested in buying your house. What would they say to you? So those are your target market. That's pretty much probably who will end up buying your home. Somebody in that range. Now, these buyers are time poor. They're very time poor. They have everything they need at their fingertips and they want it straight away. Thanks to the likes of Amazon, they are used to ordering an item online today and receiving it tomorrow. So they want the house to be in the conditions they want it in, and they're not really willing to sacrifice much. The other thing is, because they have so much access to data, they know everything. Everything about the neighbourhood. They know whether you have a mortgage. They know what your neighbour's home looks like. So I've had buyers say, I'm not going to go and look at that home because there's a laneway behind it. And I go, how do you know that? And they're like, oh, we did Google Earth. We saw it. So buyers really do know a lot more than you probably think they know. They know what your neighbour's house sold for that has the same floor plan and the same land size as your house. They know exactly what was updated in your neighbour's home versus your home because they study all the photos. They even know roughly what the value of your property is because many of the online portals now give estimates. They are online. Their very first inspection of your home is online. So buyers today are completely different than when you first bought or sold your house many, many years ago. They also honestly want the home to look like, kind of like Selling Houses Australia or The Block. It doesn't necessarily mean that your home needs to look like it's on the TV shows, but that's what they're used to seeing. They're used to seeing these beautiful homes that are staged, that are like a magazine, because when they're sharing these pictures with their friends and their family, they want the friends and the family to say, wow, this house looks gorgeous. This looks beautiful. So that's why it's important that your photos look good. It's important that you understand they're looking at this differently than you looked at it. So the buyers today don't necessarily need a house to be trendy, but they need to have it in great condition. And that means there's really no deferred maintenance for them to take into consideration with their offer. They want a good base when they come into the home. They want a home which is move-in ready. They want it to be simple and easy for them because, remember, they're super, super busy and time poor. So they just want it to be ready to go. And if they then must replace windows or replace an oven or a roof, that's adding value to the purchase price of their home. So if you're thinking about moving anywhere in the next few years, I really, really want you to start thinking about your deferred maintenance and making sure you're fixing things along the way. The real estate market has changed. The buyers have changed, and you need to understand how that's going to affect your final sale. Are you going to be able to sell it for the price that you want? Are you going to have the least amount of stress? So you really want to make sure that you're looking at that and use that as your guideline over the next couple of years as you're thinking about selling your home to downsize. And if you know people who are in this situation, maybe they're over 60, they're thinking about selling and downsizing, make sure you share this video with them and make sure you subscribe so you can see all the videos that I have to talk to you ongoing about selling your home when you are downsizing. Okay, so now to the first thing I want to share with you. That is a phrase that many real estate agents use, and it's called buyers are liars. Now, that is a strong term and I hate it, but it's not to be taken literally because buyers are not liars in the sense that they deliberately are lying to you. But a lot of times, buyers are just starting their journey and they don't yet understand how they're going to find the house that they want to buy. So they may say to you, I love it. Or they may say to the agent, yes, let's write an offer. And then they go home and they think about it and they change their minds. Or they might even write an offer and then they back out due to buyer's remorse. Or friends of family telling them that they paid too much. You get the picture? So you really need to understand buyers. While you're hearing feedback from them through your agent, they may lie a little bit about it, but they're mainly doing it to themselves. I'm not telling you they're bad people in any way whatsoever. They just don't know. They're starting this process and they're becoming educated too. They may even be first-time home buyers as well, and they've never gone through this process before. So when you are expecting your buyers to be just like you, it's not going to happen. You have to kind of completely change your mindset and put it into the fact that these buyers are younger than you. They view homes differently. They do things differently and they make decisions differently. Okay, so that's the difficult one out of the way. So let's move on to the other 9. The second point is the power of pricing. I've talked about this in the past. This is the most significant thing that you can be doing when you're listing your home. It is imperative that you price your home the right way. Now, many of you out there are thinking, well, I know when I bought this home, I just gave them a lowball offer and they took it. Or, well, they negotiated with me. Okay, so that doesn't really happen much anymore. And the reason why, because I've already told you, these buyers are super busy and time poor. So you need to make sure that you're pricing your home correctly because they don't want to waste their time writing an offer for somebody who is obviously out of line on their pricing. You must make sure that you're pricing your home correctly. And if your home is not selling, it's because your price is too high. Bottom line, that's it. I've got a whole video on this that you guys can watch too. If your home is not selling, it's ultimately the price. So remember, I told you this, when you're on the market and your home is not selling. Number 3, next in line, building and pest inspections. Oh wow. These inspections are really part of the hardest part from getting to contract to unconditional. Many of you think, oh, you know, the house went on the market and then we just got these offers and my agent didn't have to do anything. No. After the home goes under contract is almost when the hardest part of moving forward really is, because you have buyers. Remember, I told you that want what they want, and they might be first home buyers, and they may not know certain things in a house that you're like, well, yeah, every house has that. I'll give you a classic example. Termite damage. Okay, Victoria is highly susceptible to termite damage, as termites are found throughout the state, especially in urban areas like Melbourne, Geelong, and the Mornington Peninsula. It's normal to have evidence of prior termite damage somewhere on the property. It could even just be in the timber fence. A building and pest inspector is going to come in and say, there is evidence of past termite damage. And let me tell you, I have had people literally back out because there is past termite damage. Now, of course, nobody wants termites in their house. I mean, obviously you don't, but they literally dropped out of the sale. And the seller said to me, well, all you have to do is tell them that happens everywhere in Victoria. And yes, of course we do. We do that. But the problem is that these buyers have a lot of different options. And as I said, they want what they want. And sometimes they just refuse to take a house that has any hint of termite damage in it. At the building inspection, when you go under contract, You have to keep in mind that these buyers will absolutely 110% have an issue with your home. Even if you think your house is in perfect conditions, there will be issues that the building and pest inspector will find because he's paid to find problems in your home. Because if they don't, then they could be sued by the buyer if there's something that they find out after the fact. I have done a video on the topic of having a pre-sale building and pest inspection done before you sell, so that you can fix things that might be a problem for buyers. And I've dropped a link to that below. But at this point, your job is to just stay calm and listen to your real estate agent who's going to try and take out the emotions of this. Because I have had an inspection come through and the sellers get very, very angry at the inspector, very, very angry at the buyers because they've asked for something small to be fixed. And I want you to take a step back and recognise this is going to happen. This will happen. And they will most likely ask you for something that you think is a dumb, stupid, ridiculous thing to fix. And they're going to ask for you to fix it. I've seen this happen on $1 million house. We're fighting over $500. Yes, $500. I'm advising you that you need to stay calm and you need to remove emotions out of the equation and recognise the bigger picture at the end of the day. Not the $200, the $500, the $1,000. It's not going to make or break you, and your stress is going to be greatly reduced if you take your emotions out of the picture. Okay, number 4. What are the real costs of selling your home? Now, the real cost of selling your home, basically the biggest one, is going to be the real estate agent. I want you to keep in mind, you get what you pay for. If you're looking for a discount agent, you're going to get a discount agent. And that agent is not going to give you the time, the energy, and the attention that you may want. They are also not going to negotiate a higher price for your sale. If they cannot justify their own fee, how can they get you a better deal? I want you to think about this. I know everybody always puts this in percentages. Maybe you're paying your agent 1%, 2%, or 4%, whatever it is. And everybody's always talking about getting a deal. That's the society we live in now. What I really, really want you to do is I want you to take that percentage, maybe that you might be paying more or paying less. And I want you to really add that up. Is this $2,000? Is it $2,500? Is it $17,000? What is the difference? And I want you to see, is that worth it for you to get lesser service or better service when you go to sell your home? So if you're only talking maybe it's worth $2,500, 1%, maybe that's what it's worth for you to get better service, have peace of mind and a stress-free experience. Maybe it is, maybe it isn't. But I want you to just take away the whole commission idea and I want you to start looking at the dollars for dollars. And I want you to see if it's worth it for you to negotiate commission down because you will get what you pay for. Keep that in mind. Number 5, prepping your home matters. Absolutely, 110%. When you sold your home before, you didn't do anything. When you bought your home, you didn't care. They had pictures and they had family pictures. Nothing matched and the furniture was old. It didn't matter back then. It absolutely matters right now. Your first inspection is online. So it's imperative that you make sure that your home looks great. And then you need to take great professional photos. No matter what price point your house is at, you have to. It's imperative that you take great photos. Just remember, your first inspection is online. And those buyers who are time poor, who I talked to you about before, just like your children, are going to swipe right by the house because they are not going to like your photos. They are not going to like the way your home looks. So this is really imperative that you understand how to get your home ready to sell. Staging is a big deal. Now, staging doesn't necessarily mean that you're going to go out and buy all new furniture or that you're going to rent furniture. It means that you're going to clean up your home. You're going to maybe take down personal photos. You're going to rearrange your furniture. Maybe you're going to buy a few accessories to make the home look better. And maybe you're going to paint. This is the most important, least expensive thing that you can do in your home. If your home has red or green walls or has different paint colours in each room and you think it'll be okay because you think the buyer will just do it themselves, then let me tell you, they won't. And the reason they won't is because they are maxed out on the figure that they want to spend on a home. And so when they see that they have to repaint the whole house to go with their furniture, they will just walk right by your home. Remember, that doesn't look good in photos. So you have to make sure that your paint colours are neutral. Have a look at some recently sold homes on the market that look good and check out the colours they used. So while you don't need to go out and buy new furniture or get your home staged, you need to be thinking that you probably are going to spend a little bit of money to get your home ready to stage it yourself. When you are selling an unpolished potential home, that means that you have the most ability to make the most amount of money. Many people over 60 who are downsizing do have these unpolished potential homes. So I want to make sure that you're putting in the right amount of money, but not too much money, but you probably will have to spend a little bit in order to get your home ready to sell. Now, the big thing I really talk about is decluttering. Decluttering. Decluttering and get rid of your stuff. I have a video on this. No one wants your stuff. And I hate to say that because you're thinking maybe your kids are going to want your stuff. Maybe they're going to come by and take your heirlooms and your furniture. I'm finding that most children do not want their parents' stuff because they are trying to minimalise. Their homes are usually smaller. They don't want a lot of antique furniture. It's just not really in. And so they don't want your stuff generally. Now, can you sell your stuff? You might be able to, but the other thing is, your stuff probably isn't worth as much as you think it is. So, if you have a lot of stuff, I highly recommend that you start the decluttering and the giving away as soon as possible. Like years ahead of time, because it could take you months and months to get rid of your stuff. So if you're thinking you're going to sell and put it on the market and get rid of all your stuff at the same time, it's going to be overwhelming and it's definitely going to be stressful. Now, I've got all of these videos already in all of my playlists. I want to make sure that you're subscribing because if you are thinking of selling your home in the next few years, I promise you, this channel is where you need to be. I'm only talking to you about getting your home ready and becoming a savvy home seller. Number 6, let's talk about the market. Market uncertainties. One thing I want to tell you is that most buyers will come with a finance clause. If they come with cash, that means that they're probably going to offer you a lower price than if they were coming with finance. Many times you will not know if your buyer can actually go unconditional on your home for at least 14 days. And the other thing you need to know is that most likely you will not get that deposit money if the buyer's finance application is refused. But within that first 2 weeks, you will not get to keep the deposit. You need to keep talking to your agent about that to understand, are you going to be able to keep the deposit if the buyer backs out? If they have a finance clause, the answer is probably no. I have made a video on the topic of early release of deposit and I will link it in the description below. It explains the process of how to apply for the early release of deposit and when it can be rejected. Number 7, the real estate agent you choose could make or break you. And I am telling you the honest truth is that your real estate agent could cost you or make you tens or even hundreds of thousands of dollars. Now, I have seen it. I've watched sellers who have lost a ton of money because they chose the wrong agent. I've also watched sellers make more money because they've chosen the right agent. You need an agent who will dedicate time to you and your home and ensure they are present at every buyer inspection. That way they can build a rapport with the buyers and understand where they are at before they make an offer. That agent will build trust with the buyer, which helps the offer through to settlement process. An agent who passes you and your property to a junior or a colleague is either too busy or not interested in you. You have become just a number to them. You'll potentially have to deal with several different agents and not be kept updated on what the buyers are thinking. An agent who does not know you or your property can even inadvertently say the wrong thing to a buyer and potentially lose you the sale. So remember, number 8, timing. Timing is really everything. Timing is everything depending on when you go to the market. So on the Mornington Peninsula, if we're listing in June and the weather is horrific, it's cold and it's windy, that is not a great time to list. But if the weather is good in June, yeah, put it on the market. As I always say, the best time to sell is when you're ready. The only times I don't recommend you list are really in the week before Easter and generally the week before Christmas, because nobody really wants to see homes and then it's just completely kind of lost in the shuffle of all the other homes that are in the market. If you're thinking about selling in the autumn and in the winter, it's not a bad time to do it. And the reason is because everybody's thinking they need to list in spring when the garden's looking good. And so in autumn, there is less inventory, so you have less competition. I'm telling you, people really do always need to move at any time of the year. The length of time that your home is on the market does not necessarily mean it's a terrible home anymore. Now, that can be an indicator, but homes that are priced right, in the right market, will sell. So if you're thinking you want to list in the autumn or in the winter, because that's the best time for you, list it then. Don't just wait until the spring market, because remember, in the spring market, you're going to have a lot of people who are also listing in the spring market, which means inventory goes up and buyers have more choice. So you also need to understand that the settlement period between when you sell your house and the settlement can be anything from 30 to 90 days, or even longer if you need. So you need to be thinking of timing that correctly. You may also need to consider average days on market in your area, meaning how long does it take for a typical home to sell in your area at the moment. Number 9 is buying your next home. This can be a challenge. This is where you need some great partners, either your agent or your lender. If you're thinking of going to purchase another home and you're going to go and get a loan and you're just going to say, hey, I'm getting a loan. I got one years ago. I can do a bridging loan. Well, let me tell you, things have changed completely. Here's the issue. If you're over 60, downsizing, and do not have an income, you cannot get a mortgage. Even if you have cash, even if you have millions of dollars in cash, it's going to be really challenging for you to get an actual mortgage. You might be able to get somebody else to lend it to you, a hard money lender, anything like that. However, if you are just thinking, oh, it's going to be simple and easy to get a mortgage, you have to think again. The first place I'd say is talk to your agent. Your agent either has a great lender for you to talk to or can advise you of the situation and what it looks like. Even if you're years and years away, you need to understand bridging loans are really a thing of the past. If you do manage to obtain bridging finance, it can be really stressful holding 2 properties for a period of time. If you're thinking you're going to buy first and then sell, it can be very traumatic. So I want you to make sure you're talking to your partners early about this. If you're thinking about buying a place first and selling later, I've done a video on this very subject, and I will link that below for you to watch later. Number 10, managing the emotions and letting go. And this is where you need a great partner who is empathetic to where you're at. Now, you may not recognize this yet. You may not understand this, and I hate saying this. Selling a home is traumatic. It's right up there with death, divorce, major injury or illness, and job loss. The top 5 most stressful events. When you get to the other end of it, you will look back and you're probably going to say, that was really, really hard. And the reason it's so hard is because there's so much that you don't realise or know in the way this market is right now. There's so many little details that go into selling a home, and it's not the way you did it before. I get so many people that don't really understand that it's not always about the money. It's actually about the stress. It's about the quality of life. It's about how do you navigate letting go of your family home that you've been in for 30 years. You cannot underestimate the stress and the toll that this will take on you. And please, I don't mean this to scare you. I just mean to tell you, okay, if you're ready, you need to do it the right way. And there is a right way and there is a wrong way. And if you think you're just going to do it the way that you did it before, that's probably the wrong way. And that's why you need to make sure that you're researching, that you're putting your strategy together, and that you're only updating the things that you need to update in your home, that you're getting your home ready to view in the best possible way, that you're pricing your house correctly, and that you've chosen the right real estate agent. So while many people are thinking, I'm just going to sell this home, I'm just going to go, put it on the market, it'll be done. They don't understand that pull, those emotions, the stress of letting go of that family home. And the last thing I want to leave you with, which is truly important, is that your money is worth stress. So to explain what that means, I want you to ask yourself, is it imperative for you to get every single dollar from that house? If it is, then you're going to need to put in a lot of money, and it's going to cause you a lot of stress. A lot of stress getting the home ready, a lot of inspections, a lot of negotiations, a lot of difficult people, and maybe you don't even get the price that you're looking for. So I want you to take that and say, is it really worth it? Is it really worth $5,000, $10,000, $20,000? Is it even worth $100,000 to you to be over and done? And you really do need to do that. You really need to think about what the stress worth to you is. And it can be a dollar amount. Totally, 100%. So this video is meant for you to understand the things that really, I'm telling you, are going to make you get through this process with the least amount of stress and the most amount of money.